Boy, that is one roughed up card I have. I wanted to replace it before I got to this episode, but here's the thing. Battlestorm is one of the rarest games on the Famicom. The copy I'm playing was the first copy I found for sale after about a 3-month search. But rare does not mean expensive. Nobody wants Battlestorm, so I spent about 2,000 yen on it. The other copy I've seen for sale was listed at about 4,000 yen. So pricier than your standard Famicom game, probably because it is actually rare, but definitely not desirable. Battlestorm clearly derived its name from the then-recent Operation Desert Storm, the US military's term for the First Iraq War. And it is a bit of a rarity on the Famicom, because this is a real-time strategy game. When you start up Battlestorm, after you choose how many people will be playing, you have to pick a character. There's Rambo, Chuck, Eddie, Archer, and Arnold. And boy, they look awfully familiar, don't they? It doesn't really matter which one you pick, because they're all the same. Then you pick how much budget you'll have, which affects how many units you can produce. And then you can kind of set the difficulty for both sides by choosing what type of units they're allowed to make. You can choose settings here that make it impossible for one side to win, since you limit both how many units they can have on the field at once, and remove their ability to respond to aircraft. Finally, you have to choose which map you're going to play on. There are 9 sectors in the game, and you'll have to complete all of them to win. With the battlefield decided, it's time to play. And the battles always take place on one screen, with bases set up in opposite corners. Your goal is to destroy the enemy base, and what you're often controlling is the cursor in the box at the bottom of the screen. You can have 1 unit for every box, and if you don't have a unit in that spot, you hit A to build. There are 6 kinds of tanks that you can construct, with different speeds and ranges for their guns, and naturally they're all priced differently. One of the tanks has anti-air capabilities, and another has homing missiles. More pricey but absolutely vital are attack helicopters. You don't control them directly, but they can attack any ground unit. More expensive than that are the fighter jets, which you have even less control over and automatically attack any air units. Then there are missiles, which have a short range of about half the map, fire once, and destroy whatever they land on. There's also a fortress option that has to be destroyed before your base takes any additional damage, and a self-destruct if you just want to end the battle. If you want to move a built unit, you have to cursor over them in the bar, then hit the A button, and then you get a cursor that lets you direct them on the map. After you've selected their destination, you have to select what unit they'll shoot at. And then after you've entered both of those, the unit will start moving. When you build a unit, it automatically goes to the command option for it. Movement is affected by terrain. Crossing open ground is easier than crossing rough terrain, but nothing actually stops movement. If you want to steer your vehicles, you have to do a lot of micromanagement here. If the sides are evenly matched, there's not a lot you can do except just pound on each other forever. Tactically, the only advantage I could find was that the AI wasn't very good at dealing with aircraft. It might build a retaliatory anti-aircraft cannon for one helicopter, but if you sent out 2, they could destroy the anti-aircraft units and then move on to picking off others. Battles against evenly matched sides drag on a long time, too. You'll very slowly be whittling away at the opponent's base, maybe getting 1 good shot in every couple of minutes. And I found the interface to be a real hindrance here. Making move and fire part of the same command, but requiring 2 separate inputs, made it difficult to do any kind of fine maneuvering or concentrated fire. If you eventually destroy the enemy's base, then you get a password that will let you continue the game right where you left off. But even if your base is destroyed, you can continue the campaign. As long as you win a majority of the map squares, you'll win overall. Unsurprisingly, as a super rare and unpopular game, Battlestorm is not remembered at all in Japan. In fact, the only person I could find talking about it was complaining that it was incredibly rare. I can't really say that Battlestorm's any good. For a strategy game, there's just too few strategic options. Really, you're only throwing piles of units at each other until one side eventually breaks. The aircraft are really the only things where you have to make a serious decision. I do think that it's interesting that this is a proper real-time strategy game, and it came out one full year before Dune 2. But it's a case of one of those early half steps. They've gotten close to the concept, but not quite right, and haven't made it fun yet. So Battlestorm's an interesting historical curiosity, but probably not something you really want to play.